on we got everything recorded. Fabulous. So today we are going to tune in to Mercury retrograde a bit. I'm not much of an astrologer, but a lot of people have been talking about it this year. And so we want to ask Raphael or get Raphael's input on that. And yesterday, a good friend of mine mentioned that 20 people that she knows personally out in Mount Shasta saw an apparition of Saint Germain. And I know for those of you who are familiar with Mount Shasta, that does happen. It's quite a beautiful and magical place that I've been fortunate enough to travel to many, many times and have had extraordinarily magical experiences there. And so we want to tap into that energy today, of Saint Germain's energy, and connect with him and see if there's any messages that want to come through. I think the other subject we were going to touch on was just how to keep your energy field protected and clear. And if there's anything else that's pressing that somebody wants to throw in the chat box, that we can go over that as well. So today is just sort of Casey is hosting. He happens to be in Guatemala, which is fun, and he'll be on the other line and asking questions of Raphael. If you're new to this process, my name's Kelly Kolodny. I've been channeling since I was in college, so that's a really long time ago. Started in 1989. And when I channel, I'm a closed eye channel. When I first started to channel, I would wake up from it and I would be completely unconscious and I couldn't remember what Raphael was talking about at all. And now it's integrated more and more over the years, so I'm much more aware of what's going on. But my eyes are closed and my hands are moving, and I make some toning sounds. And that's me calibrating to Raphael's vibration and kind of getting out of the way and surrendering to Raphael's energy to come through and to be of service to all of you. So that's basically how it works. And in terms of announcements, next Wednesday on Instagram, we're going to do an 11/11 gathering. If anybody wants to join me to bring healing to the planet, and we're going to be doing grid work. So all of those of you who've taken the Starseed class, and even if you have not, that's fine, and want to send light and love to the planet, we're going to pick specific places to send healing. So that'll be every Wednesday morning at 11:11 a.m. on Instagram. That's New York time. And other than that, we've got our amazing I Am Creation course beginning early March. And so you might want to get registered for that. You can do that in 3 installment payments if it feels overwhelming. And then you'll be ready to go. And we're going to be creating like crazy in that class, really dropping into our I Am presence. So I'm very excited and working on that as we speak. Okay, so I think that's everything, guys. Let's just jump in here and get started. All right. Everybody wants to get grounded. That really helps me, and it will help you. So I'm sure you all know how to do that. You want to take some nice deep breaths, and you want to just bring the light from your pranic tube right down through your body and ground it all the way in to the planet. You might want to feel it coming down into the core of Mother Earth, and you can just wrap that cord there around Mother Earth. So you're really in your body. It's so important to be here in the body while we're having this human experience. Although we're tapping in to Raphael and the energies in the higher dimensions, we want to bring those energies down in and through our body. All right. Mm. Ow, hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello, hello,
hello.
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 It is, as always, we are delighted to be here with all of you. And there has been a lot of changes that are taking place at this time on an energetic level. And we assume that many, if not all of you, are beginning to experience these great shifts. And although it is in the last 2 years, there has been a lot that has taken place and occurred, and there's been a lot of time for contemplation and quietness. It is that you are moving into a new energy, and this is not quite fully come into full force yet. And for many of you, you may feel as if this year that you have numbered and you label as 2022 is a bit sluggish in getting off to a start, that the momentum of creation or what you want to do or great change is happening at a snail's pace. And that is because you are still in the energetic pattern of contemplation and of retreat and of receiving. But that is going to turn shortly. And when it does, this year is going to have an enormous amount of momentum and a lot of change. And some of that change may even feel sudden or abrupt, but much and most of it will be delightful. And so we are here today to talk to you about whatever it is you're wanting to talk about. And I am here not just as Archangel Raphael to bring healing to each and every one of you and to completely and absolutely love and adore who it is that you are, but it is that I am accompanied today by many other beings. And of course, Saint Germain, as Kelly has been attuning to his energy and to his vibration. But there is a lot of earth energy present as well, and galactic energy, and beings from other star systems. And in addition to that, there is the vibration and energy of the magnificent and beautiful goddess and of Isis, who was with you recently. And so we are here to talk about whatever it is you're wanting to talk about, and you may call upon any of this as I may and am willing to translate for any of them who are here and gathering at this particular time. But before we get into that, we are wanting to let you know that if you give us permission in this now moment, wherever it is that you may be on the earth plane, that we will assist you in anything in which you are seeking assistance of. And it is important, however, not to pull on it or to think of it in any way as if it is coming from the vessel Kelly that I am speaking through, for it is not part of her or her personal energetic field, which is intact and solidified, but it is from my energy as Archangel Raphael that is omnipresent wherever it is that you are, and you have access to my energetic field for healing and support to which you can call upon. However, we want to clarify the importance of differentiating between that of Kelly and the vibration of myself as Archangel Raphael. And so I am here today to support you in that way, in any way in which I can, in your willingness to open up to receive healing from me. And this will occur during our session today, as I shall be entering from your heart in the front and the back of your heart, coming in from both angles to support healing. And so, hello.
Hello, Archangel Raphael. So today we were wondering, if you'd share a little bit about why Mercury retrograde affects so many people on so many different levels. Maybe a little bit about what it is and how we can best deal with it, because it's something that seems to happen quite often.
Well, it's quite the buzzword. Whenever something goes wrong, you blame it on Mercury retrograde. And that's quite convenient. However, there is a basis and truth to the fact that Mercury, when it is moving forward and in alignment with the sun, has great energy and momentum. And when it is in retrograde, in a sense, it is in the darkness. And in that, it is bringing the shadow to light. And so you can push against it. And when you do that, you continue to inhabit old ways of being or old habits. And when you do that in relation to when Mercury retrograde is occurring, friction takes place and things begin to break down. This is the energy of communication, and communication can get broken at this time, and there can be misunderstandings, and you can perhaps dread up things from the past, or those who you were in relationship to in the past may come to the forefront, and all of these things. However, you can push against it and see it as something negative or as your enemy, or you can work with it and utilize it for the acceleration of your personal growth. For it is an opportunity to shed light on places and areas in which you are inhabiting old habits that are no longer serving you, places where you are utilizing your word and your thoughts to communicate to the universe something other than what you actually are wanting to bring forth into creation. And in doing so, it is an opportunity to be quiet. Often, especially in many of the cultures around the globe, there is this need to always be busy or creating or doing or producing or accomplishing. And there are times for that, and that energy is magnificent and open and forward moving. But there also is of importance to be quiet, to be introspective, to go inside, to go within, to reflect, to look at, and to recalibrate, and to clear away old ways of beings, old patterns, and old habits. And so Mercury retrograde is that. It's a time to do that. And when you push against it is when you find yourself in trouble. But if you go with it and honor it and use it to your capacity, it will serve you very well. And it will bring about many clearings that are needing to take place. And so it is that we want you to erase the idea that to be nervous about it or worried about it or blaming everything on it or thinking whenever it's here that nothing will go right or that you can't do anything or you can't make any accomplishments or you can't have any contracts or that every communication will fall apart. But to just be consciously aware. It's an opportunity for you to be honed in your consciousness, to be aware truly of everything in and around and moving through you. And not only that outside of self, but inside of self, and what you're thinking and doing and saying and creating, because it is that this is a time of reflection, but it will not last long. Many of you are feeling it right now, and you're feeling this energy of a stalemate, as if you can't quite get things off the ground or quite get it moving. And as Mercury retrograde comes to a close in the very early part of February, there will be many shifts that will start to take place and momentum will happen. And so don't push against it, because that only makes it worse, but to ride with it, to go in and utilize this time now to get clear and to be quiet, to meditate, to be gentle, to be soft with yourself, to be understanding, to communicate clearly, to heal any old wounds, and to get the foundation of that in which you are wanting to create for this beautiful year of 2022 in place, so that it is all set. You've got your ducks in a row, your documents laid out in a sense, so that when you then go to do it, and to launch whatever you are wanting to launch for the year. The foundation is there. Just like if you are building a website, you have to do all the back end work until you go live, what they would call it. And it is that collectively in this year, you haven't gone live yet. You're still getting everything in place, all the back end work. And so do that and get it settled, and know that in a few weeks time, you will be able to push that button to go live, meaning the momentum and the energy of the foundation of the work that you have laid down is going to begin to have momentum.
That's lovely, Raphael. Do you have any recommendations on how we can be sure that we're going with the flow of it rather than fighting it?
Well, it is to be surrendering to it. And to be allowing of it. For instance, as we're tapping into your energy field right now, Casey, we can tell you're not feeling well. And that's of no surprise that you've already expressed that. But it is to surrender to the not physically feeling well, and to allow it to take its course without fighting it, and it will quickly clear. And sometimes this can be confusing, this whole surrendering thing, because we also want to talk to you about commanding and demanding. So let's talk about that for a moment. Let's say, as an example, that you're not feeling well and you have something. You can command and demand that it has no power over you, and that it shall leave in this now moment. That is one way of approaching what is occurring, and something in which Saint Germain would perhaps in many respects speak to you of. And the other way would be to give into it, to surrender to it, and to allow it to run its course, and then it would move faster because you're not pushing it against it. And so what we want to express here is, in a sense, that those things do not have to be polar opposite, that they can work congruently together, in that you acknowledge where it is that one is, or how you are feeling in a particular area or situation. You bring love and compassion to it, and acceptance of it, surrendering in the sense that you accept that it is where it is that you are now. And then you make a conscious choice through your thought patterns and your words on the outcome of what it shall be. And then you direct it through the command and demand that it is whatever it is. And so those things go in a sequence, and it is important to acknowledge all aspects. For if you just go right in and rev up fast to I command and demand that it leaves, without giving it acknowledgement that it is here for a reason and a purpose, and that is recalibrating something within the field, wherever it be, physical, emotional, or spiritual, then the overriding of that will not allow you to come in from the higher aspect of self in order to say it has no power over you, because first you have to acknowledge that it is. And so we just wanted to, in a sense, clarify that it is the same with Mercury retrograde, that you acknowledge that it is there, that it may be, in a sense, not in your way, but it may be showing you something, that you bring compassion and reflection, understand it to it, but you also do not allow it to govern or take over your life, or feel that for 3 or 4 weeks during a certain period of time you can't do anything, and you become hostage to Mercury retrograde, or you blame everything on that. So it is a balancing here of these two energies.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And so, I guess, how do we protect our energy field during these times?
We're wanting to talk to you for a moment about your higher self. And we want to ask all of you to begin to attune to this, and asking you to close your eyes. And as you're closing your eyes, we're wanting you to tune into what perhaps you might call your I am presence. You might call it your angelic self or your higher self. It is the aspect of you that is fully radiating light, that is fully radiating love, that is vital and healthy and clear and beautiful and radiant and abundant and prosperous in all ways. And I want you to begin to attune to this person and connect with it and to feel this energy. And it might start to be that you begin to appear as a certain age. Your skin may look a certain way. Your eyes might be very clear. Your hair may be different. It might be longer and more flowing. It may be that light is emanating off of you. Your heart is very open and a pink and golden light is coming from that. You might feel a flowing garment that you are wearing. It may be of white or gold or another color. And start to just tune into the highest aspect of self. You in the most radiant and glorious part of who it is that you are, completely and absolutely, without any old habits or behavior, without any disease or pain, without any sense of neglect or unworthiness, no sense of suffering or inability to complete or do things. It is this all empowering, fully radiant, capable, loving, beautiful being filled with health and beauty. And as you start to tune into this, I want you to use your mind to begin to have a better feeling and sense and visual of this complete being. And start to connect to this being, because this being is who it is that you are. And it is that anything other than that is an illusion that has been created by a falsehood of the mind, which you have dropped into discordant energy that is out of harmony with the highest aspect of self due to cultural imprints of the matrix or discordant thinking of your own. And so as you begin to attune to this vibration and energy, I want you to begin to open up within where it is that you are in the current self, all the channels and avenues of systems on the body. I want you to see opening up first all of your 7 chakras, from your crown to your third eye, to your throat and your heart, to your solar plexus, your sacral and your root, down into your earth star and above into the stellar gateway. And in doing so, I want you to make a connection to the I am that I am presence of who it is that you are in your complete absolute glory and divinity. And as you are doing this, begin to merge that energy as you open tubes of light from each chakra, from where it is that you are to this presence. And as you're doing it, begin to tune to any area within the body right now that is not glowing, or there is not a full and complete passageway to your I am that I am presence of your highest self. You may get an intuitive hit. It may be at your solar plexus or your throat or your crown, or maybe fully and completely open and activated. If you are tuning in and you get a sense that there may be a blockage, call upon me now as I begin to clear it for you, creating an opening to your I am that I am presence of the divine glory of who it is that you are. And as this is occurring, I want you to begin to recognize that you are worthy and divine and magnificent and beautiful, and that you may begin to connect more and receive more light directly from this presence of your highest, most divine, magnificent, and beautiful self, and that you may call upon it at any time to be fully merging with it and to be receiving of its light. And the reason I speak to you about this is because in your questioning how to protect yourself, if those lines of communication are fully active and open with that aspect of who you are, and it is completely clear, and you are receiving a download of that energy and light pouring into every molecular structure of the human form, in that you are fully and completely protected from anyone else's energy, because another being's energy cannot come in, because the tubes are moving and flowing with energy back and forth, and there is no room for another to infiltrate. It is only in your sense of unworthiness or weakness, a sense of need to have approval from another, or to be seen by another, or a need to please another, or a need to care for another in a way that is not coming from a full and complete genuine self, that there can be leaks in these energy fields, and others' energies can come in. So instead of the old way of bringing a dome up to protect your energetic field from others, or perhaps to begin to soothe out your auric field, which is of importance, or to seal any holes or leaks that may be there of your energy leaking out or another's coming in. Instead, today we're going to ask you to merge more and more with the presence of that higher part of self, as you create a deeper and stronger and clearer connection to those aspects along your chakra systems. And in doing so, you begin to solidify their strength, and you begin to receive the strength of that presence from who you are, the highest aspect, and begin to reacquaint yourself and rekindle your relationship with our higher self, with your I am presence. And as you are seeking or searching for something moving forward that you want, for it to may be more abundance, or it may be greater health, or it may be a deeper connection in love, that you do not look outside of who you are to receive this, or that you do not see the action so much that you have to partake in, as that you open the channels to merge with yourself in your I am presence at its highest aspect. And from that, whatever you are seeking, then to come in and to bombard you with its light and its recognition to receive, is just automatically moving and flowing freely in, through, and around you, with that presence that has an ever endless supply of whatever it is that you are seeking. And the reason we want you to do this is because we want you to become more and more acquainted with that aspect of self, so that you look to it, to, even in prayer or in meditation, for anything you're wanting to receive or to create or to manifest or to feel or to experience or to know or to have, that it is already there, it is already available for you. And in protecting yourself, when you are merged with that and those channels are open, you are automatically completely protected, because you're operating from an octave that only can radiate and reflect the vibration of anything else that is in alignment with that. And anything that is in alignment with that would not necessarily be anything you need protection from, unless it's just so much of goodness that it's coming at such a rapid pace that it overloads the nervous system. And in that case, you must ask that you receive this light in quotations, or in increments would be the word, that you can handle on an electromagnetic necessity of the physicality of form.
Wow, amazing. So I was wondering, Archangel Raphael, about Saint Germain, and the people who saw him in Mount Shasta. If you could talk a little bit about his energy and what's coming through in regards to that. I know he's very present right now.
Oh, oh. Well, he will begin to appear more and more around the globe as his energy is becoming more present, and he is making himself more known to what he would call surface dwellers, meaning that he carries a flame of sacred light that lives and dwells inside all of you. And the more his presence is felt and known, the stronger and more beautiful and grander that light becomes. Of course, you may call upon him to release and let go and transmute any discordant energies that are not in harmony with the highest aspect of who you are, and begin to clear lower and denser vibrations, as well as he may be called upon to do this for areas around the globe that are needing support in any form. If you're wanting, we can take a little journey to visit him, to drop into Mount Shasta and to receive a transmutation. It is always of great sequence and helpful to utilize the violet flame and its energy to transmute the energetic field, even before fully merging with the I am that I am presence, which you've already done. But it is not necessary. It can be a twofold process. For those of you who are not familiar as to, there are many ways to connect with Saint Germain. We like to enter through the top of the mountain, drop onto a disc, open the disc door, drop in, and to receive through his light, sitting on an amethyst chair of love, the transmutation flame and violet energy that moves from the feet up through and around the crown. Any and all of you can do this at any time, for he is very, very present and will continue to. There's going to be a lot of changes coming on the planet. And of course, there are always changes happening. However, there has been a lot of clearing and a lot of beautiful things that are not fully been disclosed yet have happened that are creating a healing for Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is so resilient and so smart. And just like when the beauty of her rhythm and connection can create so much change, as if when humans create a lot of war and many men are killed across the globe in great numbers, then you'll find an imbalance in the change where more little boys are born, and that the earth is able to have its own intelligence, and it brings forth what is needed. Just like when you bring women together for a period of time, their cycles begin to merge because that rhythm starts to sync up within them. And it is that the earth is aware that there is some detrimental things occurring in its atmosphere and in many of its ecosystems. And it is creating certain situations and events that it will continue to create through time. And many of them will occur this year that might appear initially to be something destructive for a short period of time, but will have a positive impact collectively on the healing of the planet. And this has been set in motion now. And Saint Germain has played an integral part in doing these things and getting these things moving, as so have many of the beings in Telos. And so they have been activated and now are in place. So we want you to perceive things that are occurring, and you might label them a certain way, but just like Mercury retrograde, what we were talking about, that it has its positive impact, some things that we want you to see if there's a silver lining, or go deeper in the research or the science of something that may happen, and notice that its effects temporarily may be destructive in appearance, but long term may have an incredibly positive outcome for the planet as a whole. And so there is much positive things happening and great change is occurring in a very optimistic way. And so we want to come today to assure you of that, and to ask you to do the work, to continue to connect with the presence of the I am that I am, to connect with the highest aspect of self, to release and let go of old ways of thinking, old ways of speaking, old habits that you have, old thought patterns that reinforce either lack or disease, or reinforce hardship or suffering. The things that you say that are talking about something as if it is, when you begin to move with Saint Germain, and when his presence fully starts to connect with yours, and you begin to merge with it, you start to fully recognize an understanding of the power of the I am presence, and of the ability to command and demand and to be the overseer of your human experience, meaning taking full responsibility for what is taking place and unfolding, in the recognition that you are the driver of that, and that you can break down barriers, open doorways, and create possibilities in the switch, the flick of a switch, in an instantaneous moment, as a miracle can occur in the willingness to merge with who it is that you are at your highest self. And that is why I have asked Kelly and Casey to connect with the I am creation energy, because we are wanting to teach all of you to begin to see everything as a part of you, that it is you, that you are it, and to begin to merge more and more with it, because when you merge with the I am presence of the highest aspect of self, and you go beyond that further, you recognize, well, where is its source energy coming from that is radiating that much light, that is pouring into your vessel and vehicle to lift you up? Where is that source coming from? And that may be coming from the great central sun, to the creation of the stars itself, to source beyond words. But where is that coming from? And when you keep delving into it and keep moving and moving closer toward that light, you hit a point in which it moves and passes through into a place of stillness that looks almost like a black hole of emptiness, a place where there isn't anything, where there's no sound, no light, no movement, that it is a complete blank slate of nothingness. And then it circles back, you see, to where it is that you are. And it is an infinite loop of creation itself, and that it lives and dwells and exists within you, within your cells and every particle and atom of your being. It is a micro and macrocosm reflection of everything. But as you have disconnected from the earth, you've also disconnected from the cosmos, from the galactic universal energy, and from the highest aspect of self. And so what is occurring right now, and that Saint Germain is supporting you in and will continue to work with you in doing, is recalibrating your energetic field to begin to return to the fact that it merges again with everything, that the tubes of light and the connection to source itself is reactivated, reopened, and flowing, so that you're not looking to create something, looking to do something, trying to figure something out. It is just moving and flowing through you, that the source isn't outside of you, but is within you. And that is where it is that you are going in that remembering, in that awakening. And when many speak of that, many across the globe are waking up, sometimes you talk about waking up as to waking up to other powers that have had control over you. That is an aspect of it, yes. But the real waking up is waking up to your I am presence of your highest self, recognizing that that is the supply source of everything in which you are searching and seeking for. And the only way that others can interfere or have power over you or intervene into that field is that if your connection to that presence of self isn't fully connected and energy is disconnected, or like a hose, it's twisted and it's not flowing, that's where you can get that infiltration of powers that be or other energies that can come in and wreak havoc or create influence. So it's really about untwisting the kinks, in a sense, in the hose, to allow the energy to flow freely, clearly through you and your higher self. And in that, it's moving so fast that nothing else can get in the way because there's no space for it. That is what the waking up process is. It is a full merging and connection with the highest aspect of who you are, which is source or God or whatever word you're wanting to talk or to think of it as. And you are merging as one energy. And from that, everything you are doing and seeing is unfolding. And when something is beginning to get out of kink, you just command and demand that it has no place, and it dissolves instantaneously, because you are then the captain of your own ship. You are fully navigating your own experience, recognizing that you are driving it, not that something else or someone else outside of you is driving it, but that you are driving it. And so that requires an examining of the mind, an examining of what you're thinking about, an examining of what you're saying, an examining of old habits and behaviors, and any of those that are not fully in alignment with that energy that you connected to when you merge with your highest self, you command and demand to be dissolved and released. And then that energy is flowing, and that is what we call being fully in an awakened state.
Thank you, Raphael. And so I'm just looking at the questions in the chat, and one had to do with the pandemic and how we can move through the global pandemic maybe faster, transcend it. And so I was wondering if you could talk about the pandemic in terms of the silver lining, like you talked about, that there's a growth point in everything, and then also how we can grow through it and move through it at this rapid pace, like you're talking about right now.
The pandemic is coming to an end. It had a lot of energy and a lot of momentum. It's very complicated. There are beings that have interest in it continuing, but it will not. There may be in linear time some more to deal with it, and it may become more of a part of something you are familiar with as your experience, but it is going to lessen and lessen, and its grip on you is going to weaken. It does not have that power over you, and do not give it that power. Of course, there are so many lessons, the ability to simplify life, to recognize that the earth in the beginning of the pandemic had a chance to replenish itself and to recalibrate itself and to come back to life, that if you give it a moment of peace and quiet, how resilient it is, what a lesson that was learned. There is so many other beings that choose to utilize power and greed and profit off of this, and they're recognizing that's not going to in the long term really work. There has been a time for people to come together as family and children to look at things. There's been a re-evaluation of education. There's been a looking at the importance of taking care of your body, so that it is healthy and vital, and your immune system is valued and strong, so that if it comes in contact with the virus, it is resilient to heal. There are so many blessings in this, and yet there has been so much pain and struggle and loss of jobs and people that have passed and died and been ill. And so it is an array of so many things that have come to light. It has brought people closer together and others further apart. But it is not something in the form that it has been in that is ever, will last forever. So take a deep breath on that. It will peter itself out, and there will be some changes that may take place due to it, and there will be different philosophies and ways of looking at it and healing from this difficult time. But it also brings into perspective some deep gratitude for things you've lost that now will start to doorways will open to, and you'll begin to have again, and appreciation for not taking for granted so many of the things and freedoms you've had before, and abilities to go places and do things. So there is so much that it is encompassing here, but it is not, and we can assure you, something that will continue on ever ending, that it is on its way out now.
Well, that's fantastic, Raphael. And somebody just asked, and I think that this is an interesting question about how getting COVID or anything has affected people's energetic field or DNA.
Yes, of course. Well, like any virus, it is an upgrade in the DNA, and you are receiving information. And so it has been an upgrade of information. And it is has a purpose, like all things. And so it is not necessarily to be seen as the boogeyman or something so negative. We understand it can be quite uncomfortable and for others devastating, but for most it is simply an upgrade.
Amazing. And somebody else wrote in here that they were looking for a solution for feeling alone or abandoned. And I know a lot of people felt alone during the pandemic. What suggestion do you have for people who might have felt
Yes, we
alone or
recognize that.
abandoned?
Yes, and this is very hard, but that is why we are wanting you to become best friends with your I am presence. Is it because that is always with you, and it will listen to you, it will talk to you, it will be there with you. And that it might seem, well, that's so abstract. I want someone to hold me in this life or to eat dinner with in this now moment. And that's true. And that will happen again. And you will always not always be alone. But in this time when many have felt isolated and alone, developing that deeper and stronger connection is so important, because that connection with the I am presence of who you are will always be with you, will be a guiding light. And when the pandemic and the restrictions begin to dissolve, as they will very shortly, and the stronger that connection is, the more prosperous and more beautiful your human connections with each other and the ability for them to flourish will become.
Amazing. And here's a question that just came up that I think is important to address is that, we said that people are getting upgraded from getting COVID. And then this woman asked if this means that if we didn't get COVID, did we miss the upgrade?
No, not at all. You didn't need it.
There we go. Well, I think this has been really lovely, Archangel Raphael. I think
Oh,
that,
all
go
right.
ahead.
Then. We shall say goodbye now for now. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. And we are hoping you feel better, Casey. We can feel you are not feeling well. Many blessings to all of you. Much love and good day.
Good day.
All right. Let's see. Well, that was good news about COVID. Finally. Casey, can you unmute everybody? Thank you everybody so much for a beautiful call. I hope you'll join us in March for I Am Creation. Thank you for all your donations. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Enjoy it. And I love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Casey.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
Thank
you. It was
you.
beautiful.
We love
Thank
you.
you
I
so
love
much,
you.
Thank
Casey.
Oh
you
my
so
God, I feel
Better,
so much
much.
Casey.
better.
Thank you so
Fantastic.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thank you,
Love you.
Thank
Kelly.
you,
Thank
Kelly.
you. We love you, Kelly.
Blessings.
Thank
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 you,
you,
you.
Casey.
Casey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Casey.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Wonderful.
Love you.
Bye. Love
Love
you.
you,
Kelly.
Kelly. Bye.
Thank you, Kelly. Bye bye.